Hi guys, welcome to today's tutorial. So we're going to be looking at handling some geometrical construction problems in engineering drawing. So basically I'm going to be teaching you how to draw some angles 22.5, 15 degrees, 52 and a half degrees, 112.5 degrees, 37.5 degrees and 146.4 degrees. So I'm going to be teaching you how to construct these angles geometrically. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to show you our tools or our instruments we're going to be using. So I have my ruler. Of course, you know what the ruler is used for making your measurements. And we have our set squares, definitely two, our 30, 60, and our 45. So these are 45 degree set square. You know what it's used for. And again, okay, our 30, 60 set square is used for drawing 30 degrees, 60 degrees, and then when we keep it vertically, we use it to draw vertical lines. Okay, I also have my sets of compass. You know what they are used for, drawing circles and arcs, and my pencil. Okay, so haven't shown you that, we'll go straight to the construction. So we are starting with 22 and a half degrees, that's 22.5 degrees. So definitely we are going to start with our horizontal line. So we draw a horizontal line with our T square. Now, whenever we want to draw any angle aside 30 degrees, 60 degrees, and 45 degrees, we try to find out the relationship they have with these three standard angles. Because definitely with our set square, we can always draw any of these three. Now, you see, I've used my 45 degree set square to draw angle 45. If we divide 45 degrees by 2, we are going to get 22 and a half. So the angle we seek, 22.5, is half of 45 degrees. So all we need to do is draw our 45 degrees, which we have done with our set square, and then bisect it. Of course, you all know what we mean by bisection. By bisection, we mean dividing. So we bisect 45 degrees. And once we do that, we are going to get 22.5 degrees without stress. Okay, of course, you know, we want to bisect, we are going to draw an arc that will cut the horizontal line and the 45 degrees. Then we again draw another arc from the points of intersection on both the horizontal line and our 45 degrees. Then we draw two arcs where they intersect. We put a straight line. So that becomes the center of that 45 degrees. So that's what we want to do now. We want to draw the angle. So when we do that, we get our 22.5 degrees. Okay, so that's our 22.5 degrees. You can see that the line is halfway between 45 degrees. Okay, so that's it. So since that's what we are required to do, so we'll try and outline it. We are trying to outline it now so that it will be thicker than the 45 degrees, which shows that it's an outline. Okay, so that is it for 22.5. So the next one, we'll go over to 15 degrees. Again, remember, I said we think of the relationship between the angle we want to draw and any of the standard angles we have, 30 degrees, 60 degrees, and 45 degrees. Now, 15 degrees is half of 30. 15 is half of 30. So for this one, we are going to be using our 30, 60 set square this time around. So I'm going to draw it on the same line. So this time around, you see I'm using my 30, 60 set square, and I'm using the 30 degree side to draw angle 30. So I'm just simply going to draw angle 30 degrees, and then I'll bisect it to give me 15 degrees. So this should be pretty easy. So I've drawn my 30 degrees. I want to bisect it. I follow the same process with my compass, put it at the point of intersection of the angle and the horizontal line, and then I'm going to draw an arc. Excuse me. Now, where the arc cuts the 30 degrees and the horizontal line, I'm going to use them as respective centers and for my compass, as points for my compass, and I'm going to use them to draw two arcs that will intersect. So where these two arcs intersect becomes the center of 30 degrees. So I'm going to put my ruler at that point of intersection, and then with the same point where I drew my 30 from, I'm going to, from that same point, I'll draw a line. And that line definitely becomes 15 degrees. Okay, so I'm trying to be very careful. I'm trying to place my ruler very, very properly. You know, 15 degrees is not such a big angle, so I'm trying to place my ruler very well so that I'll get the very exact center of that arc, of the intersection of those arcs actually. Okay, so I have my 15 degrees. Now onto the next one. The next one is 52.5 degrees. That's 52 and a half degrees. Okay, again, we are going to look at 52 and a half. Now, if I draw 60 degrees and I draw 45 degrees, then 52 and a half is in between 60 degrees and 45 degrees. So for this particular problem, I'm going to draw angle 60 degrees. That's why I have my 30-60 set square, and I'm using the 60-degree side to draw an angle. So I'm going to draw my 60 degrees. That's my 60 degrees. And then I'm going to use my 45-degree set square to draw 45 degrees from the same point. I'm going to draw 45 degrees. Now the space I have between for 60 degrees and 45, that's 60 minus 45 is 15 degrees. That's 15 degrees. Now if I bisect that 15 degrees, I'm going to have 7.5. Now 45 plus 7.5 gives me 52.5. So that's the logic behind it. So I've drawn my 60 degrees, I've drawn my 45 degrees. Now I'm trying to bisect. Don't get it confused here. I'm not bisecting the 60 degrees. I'm not bisecting the 45 degrees. I'm bisecting the 15 degrees that's in between the 60 degrees and the 45 degrees. So that's what I'm trying to do now. Okay, I'm trying to be very careful with my arcs this time around. You know, I'm doing it in a much smaller space. So I have to be very careful with my arc. So I've obtained my point of intersection. Now I want to draw the angle. Always be careful to note the point of intersection. Always be careful. Set your rule properly before you draw. So I have my 52 and half degrees. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'll try to make it thicker since it's the outline. So I'm going to thicken it. I'm trying to label all the angles there so that it won't be confusing. I've labeled the 52 and a half. I'm trying to label the 45, the 60, the 15 degrees in between them, and the 7.5 I obtained after bisection so that there won't be any confusion. That's my 15 degrees. So you look at it, that's the 15 degrees in between 60 degrees and 45 degrees. That's my 15 degrees. Okay, so since labeled all the angles I got from this construction. So the next thing is to pick in the 52.5 degrees line. So I'm going to pick in it so that showing that that's my outline. All right, so we are done with angle 52.5. Now we move to the next one. The next one is 112.5 or 112.5. So that's the next one. Again, remember the process. We are still going to try and find out the relationship between 112 and half and our standard angles. Now this looks a bit tricky. This looks a bit tricky. Now, for if I want to obtain 112.5 degrees, I am going to draw 90 degrees and okay, basically 112.5 is 90 plus 22.5. Now, so 90 plus 22.5 gives me 112.5. And of course, we've dealt with 22.5 before, so we all know that 22.5 is a product of bisecting 45 degrees. That's what it means. So it's a product of bisecting 45 degrees. So it means that we are going to draw 90 degrees, which we have done with the vertical part of our set square. We've drawn our 90 degrees. Then we are going to draw a 45 degrees on the other side of the 90 degrees. So we are drawing 45 degrees on the left side of the 90 degrees. So that's what we want to do. So that in this 45 degrees now, we are now going to bisect it and just pick, add 22.5, which is half of that 45, to the 90, and that will give us 112.5. Okay, so I've drawn my 45 degrees. Remember, this angle I just drew is 45 and it's also half of 90. That's half of 90. Good. So from the horizontal to the angle is 45 degrees. From the angle to the 90 degrees, which is the vertical, is also 45 degrees. So now I want to bisect the 45 degrees. Again, I'll need to draw two arcs, and then from the point of intersection of the two arcs, I'm going to put my ruler and then draw a line. Okay, so that's 22.5. So that 22.5 plus the 90 degrees gives us 112.5. That is it. So again, I'm going to try and label all the angles there so that to avoid confusion. So I'm going to label it. So that's 22.5. That's 22.5. Yes. That's my 90 degrees. That's my 90 degrees. And of course, we got to the 90 from the vertical part of our set square. So we can use our 30-60 set square for that. We can also use our 45 degrees set square for that. All right, so the last stage of this work is to outline it, to outline the 112.5 degrees line. So we're going to make it thick, showing is an outline. All right, we are done with the 112.5 degrees construction. So we are moving to the next one. The next angle is 37 and a half. That's 37.5 degrees. Okay, so again, we are going to look at 37.5. A little consideration will tell us that, okay, so 37.5, we have 30 degrees, we have 45 degrees. So we are going to construct 30 degrees and we're going to construct 45 degrees. Now, the angle between 30 degrees and 45 degrees is 15 degrees. That's 15 degrees. And half of it is 7.5. So if we construct 30 degrees, which we've just done, and then we construct 45 degrees, the angle between 30 degrees and 45 degrees is 15 degrees. So we bisect it and then to get 7.5. So 7.5 added to the 30 degrees gives us 37.5 degrees. So we are trying to draw our 45 degrees with our 45 degree set square. So we position it very well and then we draw our 45 degrees. Okay, so you can see we have 30 degrees, we have 45 degrees. Next thing is to bisect the 15 degrees between the two angles. Okay, so I am done with the what's that? The what degrees did we just okay, 37.5 degrees. So you can see it at 37.5 degrees, and that's 30 plus 7.5. 30 plus 7.5. And okay, I think I made a mistake in that. My I didn't get my axe very well. I didn't draw from my axe. From the point of intersection of the axe, I didn't get it very well. So I'm going to redraw that. Okay, so that's our 37 and a half. The next is to outline it, to taking it, showing is an outline. Okay, I'm done with the outline. I'm done with the outline, and then we go to the final angle. We go to the final angle, and that is 46.46 1/4. Okay, sorry, that's not 40. That's 146. That's 146. That's not 40. That's 146.25. 146.25. That's it. That's 146.25, which is 146 and quarter. So that's the next angle we want to construct. But before that, let's label all the angles we got while we were trying to construct our 7.5 degrees. Let's label all the angles so that at a glance anyone can understand what we've done. Okay, we are done with. I think we are done with this. We are done with this. We're just trying to fine tune it, just some final fine tuning. So, but basically, we are done with that, and the next should be to construct the 146.25. Okay, so for our 146.25 or 146 one quarter, again, we look at this particular angle and then we try to ascertain the relationship between this 146.25 and our standard angles. Now, we have already, okay, this is 146.25 is 135 degrees plus 11.25. 11.25 is half of 22.5. So if we divide 22.5 degrees by 2, we get 11.25 degrees. And if we add this 11.25 to our 135 degrees, we'll get the required angle. Now, of course, we've drawn our 135 degrees. Our 135 degrees, 135 is 90 plus what? What's our 135 is how is it's 90 plus 45. Okay, it's 90 plus 45. So with our 45 degree set square, we can draw our 135. So our 135 degrees is like minus 45 degrees. So when we draw 45 degrees, on one side it gives, if we draw 45 degrees on, it gives 45 degrees on that side, and then on the other side of the straight line it gives 135 degrees. Yes, so that's how we get the 135 degrees. So we just draw the inverse of 45 with the same 45 degree set square, and that's it. Now, having drawn that, we bisect. We said we were going to add 22.5 to this. Okay, so yes, we are going to bisect the 45 degrees that we just drew. We're going to bisect it. And to get 22.5, and then we are going to further bisect the 22.5. Okay, so we've drawn 45 degrees with our set square, we've bisected to get 22.5, and then we are bisecting the 22.5 again. So that gives us 11.25, and this 11.25 we add it to the 135 and we get our 145, or one sorry, our 146.25. Okay, so I think we are done with that. So we want to try and label all the angles. We want to label all the angles so that it will be clear. Okay, so we have our 135, sorry, our 146.25. Okay, so now that's what we are trying to label. We've already labeled the 135 degrees, so we are trying to label the 146.25. So that's the angle. So we label that 146.25 degrees. Okay, that is it. Okay, so now having done that, the last stage of this work is to outline the required angle. So we are going to outline it. So that's, we want to make it thick so that anybody looking at our work would know exactly the angle we drew. So we outline it and we outline the horizontal line. Okay, so this is the second part of our geometrical construction lesson, and today we'll look at how to construct polygons, regular polygons. We'll look at how to construct a pentagon. We are going to look at how to construct a regular polygon of any number of sides once we have the length of a side, and we are going to look at how to construct hexagons across flat when we have the distance across flat and when we have the distance across corners. Okay, so once again, we are already used to our drawing instruments, our T-square for horizontal lines and the rest. So we're always going to start with drawing a horizontal line. Okay, so we're going to draw a horizontal line with our T-square. Okay, so again, I still have my ruler, I still have my pair of compasses, and my pencil. Okay, so now some of you may be wondering why I like to use two compasses, this smaller one and the big one there on the table. Okay, so this small compass is easy to lock. So when we want to mark out a small length that we are going to be using repeatedly, the same length, if we know we are going to be using the same length repeatedly, so it's always best to mark it out on this small one and lock it. So when you lock it, you can use it. It's when you lock it, it's difficult to the dimension is will not shift or change while you're using it repeatedly. So that's why I like to use this small one alongside the the regular long one. So, but all the same, it depends on choices. Okay, so we want to draw a regular pentagon. Okay, so the first step is to we have the length of a side AB. We have the length of a side and AB. So we are going to draw mark out the length AB on the horizontal line that we've drawn. That's the first step. So mark out that length AB, and then from point A, we're going to use the same radius AB to draw a circle from point A, and then we are going to draw another circle from point with center point B. So we draw the first circle with center point A and radius AB, and we draw another circle from with center point B and radius same AB. Okay, now we've drawn the two circles, and these two circles would intersect at 2 points. So we are going to call those 2 points C and D, and we are going to join it with a straight line. So that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm trying to join the 2 points of intersection of these two circles that I drew. Okay, now I'm going to from the center D. Of course, you know D is one point, one of these 2 points we just got. So with center D, we are going to draw, and then the radius the same AB. We are going to draw an arc to cut the two circles, and where it cuts the two circles, we are going to call those points E and F. Then where this circle cuts this line CD, we are going to call that point J. So we are drawing from taking it again from point D. I drew an arc to cut the two circles at points E and F, and to cut the line CD at point J. So I'm trying to take my time to mark these points. So now we are going to join EJ and FJ. So we join EJ and FJ. Remember, E it's where the arc cuts the first circle. F is the point where the arc you drew from D cuts the second circle. So J is where this your arc cuts line CD. So we are joining EJ and FJ. Okay, so FJ and EJ would produce points G and H on those first two circles. So when we draw point FJ, we are going to extend it up to a point where it touches the circle, the first circle we drew from A. And then when we draw line EJ, we are going to extend it until it touches the second circle we drew from point B. And then these 2 points, we will call them G and H. Now with our center at G and then the same radius AB, we are going to draw an arc to meet at I. With centers G and H and then radius AB, we are going to draw arcs to meet at I. Now, what I mean is we are going to use this G as center and then we use the same radius, we draw an arc, and then again we use H as center and the same radius AB, we draw another arc. Now, these two arcs will intersect at a point that we'll call I. Okay, so now we are going to join the points A, G, I, H, B, and this gives us the pentagon we are looking for. So we've joined points G, I, H. So now we want to join points A, G, and B, H. Okay, so that completes our polygon, our pentagon, sorry. We want to be precise now. So we are trying to outline our AB. Okay, so we are done with this pentagon and the sides are A, B, I, H, B. A, B, the base side we started from, and then we moved over to get points, two circles that we got intersected at it. Okay, so we are done with this, we are done with this, we are done with the pentagon. So we move next to the polygon, to the regular polygon. Now we want to draw a polygon of any number of sides once we have the length of a side of the polygon. So we want to draw a polygon of any number of sides provided we have the length of the side of the polygon. So first of all, we are going to mark the side AB. So on this horizontal line, we have marked out the length of the side of the polygon and we are going to call that AB. Now, we are going to draw angle 60 degrees from point AB and we are also going to draw angle 45 degrees from point AB. So, but before that, we want to bisect AB. We want to bisect AB. So we make arcs or above and below the line, the horizontal line from point A, and then another two other arcs above and below the line from point B. So where these two arcs intersect above the line and below the line, we rule a line. So that becomes half of AB. Because the vertical line stands at the center of AB. Okay, so after drawing our vertical line, we are going to draw angle 60 degrees. We're going to draw angle 60 degrees from point A and angle 60 degrees from point B. Then we are going to do the same thing using 45 degrees. We're also going to draw 45 degrees from point A and 45 degrees from point B. So this is 60 degrees. We've drawn that from point A. We are going to repeat that from point B. So from point B again, we are going to draw 60 degrees. Okay, so we draw 60 degrees from point B. From the same point A, we are going to draw another angle, 45 degrees. That's why we are using our 45-degree set square now. That's 45 degrees from point A, and we repeat the same thing for point B. 45 degrees from point B. Okay, now the apices of our 45 degrees angles and our 60 degrees angles, we are going to label them as 4 and 6. Now, what we mean by apex is where the two 45 degrees angles touch. That's the apex of the 45 degrees. So that point we are going to label, call it 4, and then the point where the two 60 degrees lines touch, we are going to call that point 6. Now we are going to 4 to 6, we are going to bisect this line 4 to 6. We are going to bisect it to get the center point, which we are going to call 5. Okay, so we are trying to bisect the line 4, 6, which is the distance between the apex of the 45 degrees and that of the 60 degrees lines. Okay, so we bisected the line 4 to 6, and now we are going to mark out one from 4 to, and we said the midpoint of that line 4 to 6, we are going to call it 5. So we are going to mark out that distance 4 to 5. That's going to be one division, and then we are going to mark it out and then use it to get other points from 6. So we are going to mark from 6, we use it and get point 7, and then from point 7 we mark again and get point 8. So we can continue like that depending on the number of sides of the polygon we want to draw. Okay, so but for the purpose of this class, 7.7 and 8 should be enough. Now, to draw any number, to draw a polygon of any number of sides, now let's start with octagon 8. Okay, so now if we want to draw an octagon, now we are going to use the distance between point 8 on the vertical line and A as our radius, and then we will draw a circle from center A, from center 8. I don't know if you understand. Okay, let me explain that again. I said now we've marked points 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now for any number, for any polygon of any number of sides we want to draw, let's say 8, we are using 8. Now we want to draw a polygon of 8 sides, that's an octagon. Now we are going to measure the distance, we are going to mark out the distance A8, and then use that length, put the center of our compass at 8, and we'll draw a circle. Okay, so after this circle, we are going to use the length AB, which is already the length of one side of the polygon. So we are going to use the length AB. Remember, we already marked it out on this smaller compass and we locked it. So we are going to use AB and mark arcs round the circumference of this circle. So we are going to start from A and then probably move clockwise until we get to point B. So we are marking points with AB as length. We are using it to mark points round the circle. Okay, so we've done that right round. Now the next thing is we are going to use a ruler and then we are going to join these arcs with straight lines. So these arcs we marked on the circumference of circle, we are going to join them with straight lines and it's going to give us an octagon. Okay, so I'm counting it. You see it's going to give me 8 equal sides, which making it an octagon. Okay, now I can draw a hexagon, that's a polygon with 6 sides with the same method. Now, if I want to draw a hexagon this time around, I'm going to use A6 as my radius. So you can see with A6 as my radius and then from center 6, I'm going to draw a circle, which I just did. Then I'm going to use the same length AB since it's still the same length of side I want to achieve. So I'm going to use the same length AB and again I'll start from point A and then I'll mark arcs round the circumference of this my new circle. So I'm starting from A. So with the same length AB, so I'm starting from A. I'm going to be marking points on this circumference. So this is 1, good. And then from there, I mark another point 2. From there, I mark another point 3. And from this one, I mark another point 4. Okay, and now the last point should coincide with A. Okay, so I'm going to use my ruler and pencil and then I'm going to join these points with a straight line to give me a hexagon. Okay, so I have one, two, three, four, five, six sites. Okay, so thank you very much for your time. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. So I'll see you in my next video.